Hey guys, how's it going? Billy here, coming at you today with another Japanese vinyl update. Was able to secure some really cool pieces and add some really rare, harder to find pieces to my Japanese hard rock and heavy metal collection. So let's jump right in here. Let's start off with kind of the album that started it all for heavy metal and hard rock. I guess you could say Black Sabbath, self-titled. This is a 1980 reissue. So this is the heavy metal series here. Trying to find originals from 1970, which I believe they had two different ones. There was a 1950 yen and a 2000 yen that were released in 1970. They are just impossible to find, especially complete, with the insert and the obi. So I was able to, I guess you could say settled for this one, but this one sounds great. It's just mint all the way around. Just a beautiful, beautiful copy. And even these are getting harder and harder to find. Like I said, this is from the 1980 1800 yen heavy metal series. But a really, really nice copy on the NIMS. The original was the Vertigo, but it was a Philips Blue Label, I believe, the 1970, the two that they put out in 1970, the 1950 yen and the 2000 yen. But this one, really, really great, and stoked to add that to the collection. Iron Maiden, Killers. Probably this was the only Iron Maiden piece I was able to add this go round, but this is an original 1981, I believe. Let's see, yeah, 1981 original EMI. There you have the back, nice obi, just a mint all the way, near mint, all the way around. Absolutely beautiful piece. Glad to add that one. But yeah, that was the only Maiden piece I was able to add this time around. Last time, if you watched my last video, I think I had 3 or 4 Maiden pieces, and I am not sure if I have any in the next batch that I've kind of been setting aside. Probably pretty close to closing out that next batch and getting them sent to me, but I don't recall if there were any Maiden pieces in there or not. This was a super grail in this lot. Trying to complete my Metallica Japanese collection, and this one was just it's been a really hard one to find. It's not hard to find unless you are being extremely picky, like I am, and I know like Mitch is, or Brandon, and a handful of other friends that do collect the Japanese vinyl. With the obi, near mint all the way around. Just an absolutely striking piece. This thing is just beautiful. Original, first pressing. Just love it. Absolutely thrilled to have this and add it to the collection. So now that means the only thing that leaves me with the only thing missing in my Japanese Metallica collection is And Justice for All, and those are just virtually impossible to find. I don't know if they just weren't pressing very many of them then. You think the U.S. counterpart is hard to find. Try finding a nice, excellent condition, near mint condition, or better Japanese copy with an obi that's complete. They're just they're impossible. This getting my Ozzy collection up there as well. This is Blizzard of Oz, another original. Glad to add that one to the collection. This has the insert, postcard, all that stuff. Love the obis. As I was going through cataloging all this stuff into Discogs, I realized that there's something I mean, I've always known there's something a little bit extra special about the Japanese pressings, but man, they've slowly became the babies or the prize of my collection. Um, it's been fun chasing these things down, really, really trying to make the collection and bolster the collection that much more. Um, they're just there's something that's really extra special about these. Um, moving right along, LA Guns, self-titled, um, first release here. It's such a sleazy, trashy, bluesy, rock and roll, hair metal record. I guess I hate using that term hair metal, but it's basically how people classify or identify with it. But another really beautiful, hard to find copy there. This one here, I was really super stoked to find this one. This is Lynyrd Skynyrd's second helping. Um, Again, slowly adding to my Skynyrd Japanese pressing collection. This is not an original press. This is a 19. I want to say this is an 85, 84 or 85. Of course, I can't read Japanese, but it's not on there anywhere. It is like a more, I guess maybe you could say it was a remix, or it's not just a standard reissue. There's something special about this because these are a little bit harder to find and even a little bit more sought after and valuable than the original pressings are. So I'm assuming they sound great. I haven't listened to this yet, but I'm assuming it sounds better than the original. Maybe it was just remixed, remastered. I don't know. I'll have to do a little bit more research. If anybody out there knows exactly why these are more sought after than the original 74 pressings, let me know in the comments below. I would greatly appreciate it. But this is one of my all-time favorite Lynyrd Skynyrd records right here. Their second album, of course, their follow-up to Pronounced, their debut. But this is second helping. Moving right along, Motley Crue, Too Fast for Love. I love this, the way how clean this one is. Just unbelievable. Love that. Another original there. Just beautiful all the way around. All these are just, near mint, just gorgeous. You guys, if you watched the last of my couple videos, you'll see I'm slowly getting into Wasp. And so I picked, having the opportunity to add some Japanese Wasp to the collection, I jumped right at it. And this is The Last Command from 85. It's from 1985. This is, from what I understand, there are two different versions of this. And so there's like a super deluxe version, which was a lot of money. This one was the 2,800 yen copy, still an original pressing. Has I believe it has an insert, a poster, and something else in there. But no, this one has the insert and the full color inner sleeve. And so this has English lyrics and then Japanese insert as well as a full color sleeve. The other version has those two things that I mentioned, as well as a full color poster and a necklace or a pendant charm, a Wasp charm. So that one, those are super, super hard to find, especially complete. But I was happy with this one. Glad to add that to the collection. And then slowly adding I'm closing down on my Twisted Sister Japanese collection, and this is Under the Blade. This is an original issue, even though it did not come out in the year this was released. I think this was released in 81, or I'm going to say 81 or 82 when Under the Blade was released worldwide. But as you can see on the Obi, they have Theater of Pain and what is it? Come out and play, stay hungry, or you can't stop rock and roll, out of the cellar, fly on the wall. So those would have been like 85 releases, and I believe this was actually released in 1985. I'm not 100% sure, but yes, 1985. So this is the first pressing from 1985 of Twisted Sisters Under the Blade. Love that. The color coordination that they do with the obies is just something that they're pieces of art. They really, really are. This one I was really, really stoked to get. A really nice first press of Dio's Holy Diver. Love that on the obi strip there. Again, just a beautiful copy all the way around. And then I think I only need one or two more pieces for my Ozzy collection. Since I've added this one, Speak of the Devil. This is another one of those things that there were a couple different versions available, and you can tell by the black box on the obi here. You see how this black box is only half of the space that could be filled. There is one that has a black box that would go all the way down to where my finger's at. And so this basically says this contains a 7-inch single Mr. Crowley, and I don't know. And then the other one says also a large poster or oversized full color poster, I believe. So this one contains the 7-inch, the inserts, all that stuff, but no poster. This one was issued without a poster. But love finding these. Anytime I can pick these up, especially these black covers, trying to get them in near mint all the way around. They're just so hard to get. So always glad to add some Ozzy, and always glad to add this nice stuff, Japanese Ozzy, to the collection. Mitch has me beat right now on my Thin Lizzy Japanese collection. He's starting to get a couple nice pieces, but I was able to snag this one. This is Black Rose. Again, love the color coordination with the obi strip. Well, to say obi strip, it's almost like saying strip or sash strip. Just the obi, the color coordination of the obi. They do a fantastic job. Love it. Love that. Again, another beautiful record. And then this, I am really close to closing in on my completing my Whitesnake collection. This is a Japanese only. They were huge in Japan. Just super, super huge. They had a couple things that were Japanese only releases, and this was one of them. This is the greatest Whitesnake, and this is a 3,000 yen double LP. Nothing fancy on the inside. Matter of fact, all the liner notes and everything are actually printed on the inside of the gatefold. There's not any inserts. There's just the gatefold with everything printed on the inside, the English lyrics, Japanese credits, and things like that. But 2 LPs, really, really great addition. Super hard to find and really highly sought after. Glad to add that to the collection. I think I'm only 2 or 3 albums away from completing my Whitesnake collection, and they're actually newer, not hard to find things like Unzipped and Purple, a couple of those newer things. So that's the Japanese stuff. I was able to pick up one other thing from my Japanese distributor that you just can't find anywhere else. And for those of you that follow me on maybe Facebook or Instagram, you may have seen this a little bit earlier when I posted it. But so stoked to finally be able to add Skid Row's Subhuman Race. This is a 1995 German pressing, just a near mint, beautiful copy of this record. It's not as... obviously not as popular as their self-titled debut. It is not as heavy as their follow-up, Slave to the Grind. But, when this thing gets heavy, it is heavy. Sebastian's still great vocally. there's so many great songs on here. It's a little bit more grungier than I would really care to like. Um, Even though it only has 3 or 4 grungy moments on here, on an album that has 15 songs, there's 3 or 4 just straight up grunge type songs. The rest of the stuff is there's only maybe 1 or 2 what you would consider like power ballads, and then the rest is just hard and heavy. Snake Sabo just freaking riffs his ass off on this record. It is unbelievable. I kind of overlooked it for the longest time because obviously, everybody talks about their self-titled debut or Slave to the Grind, which to me is just as heavy as they come. I mean, I love that album. I was so glad to not only be able to add this to the collection, but get a nice near mint German pressing. But it's a great album. I mean, it really, really is. When you stack it up there with those other 2, yeah, it clearly falls down to 3rd place. But it's still really, really good. When you talk about hard rock, heavy metal albums of that time, this came out in 1995. Heavy metal was all but just grasping on for dear life at that time. And this is a really killer album, of course, produced by Bob Rock, which may have a lot to do with the sound and the production. But it sounds great. It's a really, really great sounding album, and glad I was able to finally add this to the collection. These things are like hen's teeth. They are so hard to find. So I rarely get non-Japanese pressings from my Japanese guy, but when he kind of posed the question, would you like to pick this one up, have the opportunity to get it, I jumped right at it. So glad to add that one to the collection. So there you have it, guys. That's another nice stack of Japanese vinyl to add to the collection. Starting to slowly but surely build up a very respectable Japanese collection. There's so many great people in the vinyl community that have killer collections with much more knowledge in this than I do, that I kind of look towards, and kind of look up to, and aspire to make my collection, like theirs. But my collection's great. I love my collection. Everybody that comes over is just kind of in awe by the way I've got everything set up down here, and it works for me. Matter of fact, I'm getting ready to do hopefully do another room tour video. As you can see, I've got stuff on the floor down here. I'm still working on, so everything from here over, that's all my country stuff that I'm still going through, sorting, cataloging, cleaning, pulling dupes, and reorganizing. That's the last that I have left to do in my vinyl collection. But man, it's been such a painstaking process, entering all that stuff in Discogs, re-sleeving everything, organizing, pulling dupes. But it's made the collection so much better. I've been able to enjoy my collection so much more. Finally, putting closing the door on the cassette storage wall, so to speak. That has all been built. Everything has been sorted, and 2/3 of it has actually been put up and organized. So I've got some dupes that like I said, I went through in another video. I mentioned Dan Powers and Frank from Channel 33, and a couple others. Brandon was able to pick through and get a couple, but Brandon's got such a huge cassette collection already. Even all the duplicates that I had, I think he only needed 2. So it was like Badlands and what was it? Badlands and Skid Row. Something like, yeah, I believe that's what it was. Badlands and Skid Row. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to start rambling again, but as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed the Japanese vinyl. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. I'll get back to you. Always enjoy reading your comments, guys. As always, thanks for tuning in. Take care. Peace.